Good afternoon, everyone. Today I have with me Bob Greska, founder and CEO of C-60, otherwise known as Carbon 60. This is that miracle that you're hearing about across the net, and there's so much, fog out there about what it is, what it can provide, how it can enhance your life, the benefits possibly. So I wanted to bring Bob on because I personally see it as something to use during the grand solar minimum for myself personally. I'm speaking for myself, not anybody else, that I think it can help enhance and take me to at least protect my body, because through every grand solar minimum, one of the main things is nutrition also affects the body, because the food choices during the grand solar minimums, the increased food prices, the lack of availability, and some of the breakdown in just-in-time delivery means we're not going to have access to all the food that we have had throughout our entire lives. There's going to be some diminishment of that. And so I'm looking for ways to keep my body in better shape and also kind of detoxify myself as we move into this next step of, changes in our weather patterns, changes in our jet streams, and changes in food pricing in society in general. And before we get started with today's interview, disclaimer: Carbon 60 Organic Sunflower Oil or Carbon 60 Incorporated makes no health claims regarding its product. Carbon 60 Organic Sunflower Oil, this information is provided for informational purposes only and is not to be considered medical advice or instruction. We believe all the information, statements, suggestions, and product descriptions for the website are accurate and correct. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Consult with your physician or healthcare provider for medical advice. Now, on with the interview. Bob, I welcome you on, and before we even start, I wanted to tell everybody about your website. It is c-60.com.
Yeah, hi David. It's good to be here this morning. Thank you for having me on. Probably just go over a little bit of a background to get started. I started out as a carbon engineer and studying carbon in college. I went into graphite epoxy, building spacecraft structures. I worked in the aerospace business. And most of the aerospace business, as you know, is defense related, but it's really offense. And I said, I'd really do something to help people than try to destroy them. And that's when I left the aerospace business in 1990 and started my own company, Engineering Innovations. And we worked on several things to improve human performance. And we're successful at quite a few of them. The springs that are in the heels of running shoes, we pioneered that market. Like the Air Nikes and so forth. Before the Air Nikes came out, we made actually carbon fiber springs that went in running shoes. We also made high altitude simulation chambers to simulate high altitude. That also helped put athletes on top. We also work with Natick Laboratories in Massachusetts and developed some things for making the soldier perform better, give them better, like exoskeleton type devices and so forth like that. But with all the things that we worked with, one of the main things we came up is with the carbon 60 and the carbon 60 molecule. Working with the nanomaterials, we developed a process to manufacture and create the carbon 60 molecule in a different fashion than has been done up in the industry. And basically, the big difference is we don't use any solvents in our process or have any toxicity. So we don't have to remove that component from our carbon 60 because it's never in there to start with. And the benefits that we have, and we can go over talk about some of the benefits that this molecule does. Basically, it's a superior antioxidant. And it's superior because it removes free radicals from your body. And not really remove them, but neutralize them. And the way it neutralizes them, the carbon 60 molecule has the ability to donate electrons. And the molecules, your free radicals in your body, are actually molecules that are missing electrons. So basically, it's an electron exchange. You got a missing electron on a molecule, your molecule doesn't function very good. It's in a cell, and your cell doesn't work properly because one of the molecules are not even working because it's missing an electron. So the carbon-60 molecule, and the importance is the smallness of the size. It goes into your body, floats around, sees that magnetic attraction, and pulls over to that molecule and donates an electron. And that's repairs that molecule. It bends it. And now that molecule functions fully, and that cell that it was attached to or hooked onto now is more efficient, so it can produce. That's why everybody in about 4 days after taking the product, most all of them, about 95%, feel that they have more energy in their body. Their cells to turn back on. I look at it like free radicals in your body, like tiny roadblocks. Everybody has them all over the place. And once you remove those roadblocks, it turns your body back on, so your energy flows more freely through your body, and your body functions even better.
Yeah, and also I really want to ask you and define for everybody when we're talking about nanoparticles. You know, I have a bottle of C-60, and I find also my energy level during the day is specifically higher when I would usually get tired and have to, just sit and close my eyes for 10 or 15 minutes to try to regroup, and maybe my eyes were getting dry or something. But I found that I don't even need that anymore. Just throughout that day, I have more energy just in general. But when we're talking about the size of the nanoparticulates here, so people can get an idea of the size of these when they're going through your entire body, because we know that everything within a body structure is connected. Molecules, atoms are all connected together electrically. Because we were talking earlier about, just even breathing, if it was on a dried surface, if it was not in oil, it would just go everywhere, even the slightest disturbance of air, because these particles are so tiny. Can you tell us these carbon-60 molecules, how many of them sunflower oil?
One serving, our carbon-60 organic sunflower oil is highly concentrated. We pack quite a few single molecules of carbon-60, and single is the important part of it because they're not stuck together, they're not clustered together. There are many, many, many. And each serving contains about 30 drops, and about that, there's over 100 billion of these particles or carbon molecules in each serving. So whatever 100 billion divided by 30 is, that's how much would be in each drop. But to give you some other idea, in the width of a human hair, it would take over 100,000 carbon-60 molecules to bridge the width of a human hair. So they are very, very tiny. They're very small. And that's what gives them the unique ability to travel around your body so easily. And so many of them. Now, not all the cells in your body are free radicals by any means. Free radicals are generated naturally in your body. If you have oxidative stress from working out, if you do a hard workout, your muscles produce free radicals naturally. And your body over about 3 days removes those free radicals. And that's a natural process. Now, as we get older, that free radical removal process doesn't work as good, and that's where the carbon-60 comes in and remove those free radicals for you. That goes kind of back, go back talking about when you're working out. When you work out, you generate free radicals, the body removes a free radical. And not only does it remove free radicals caused by the oxidative stress from a workout, but it also removes the free radicals caused by toxins in your body. So basically, it doesn't care how the free radical gets there, either by a toxin or by oxidative stress from working out, your body still starts removing them. And that's really why you work out. You work out to bolster or improve your free radical removal process. Now let me talk about toxins. Toxins that come into your body basically are electron stealers. They want to go steal an electron off that molecule, making it a free radical, inhibiting the performance of the cell that free radical is attached to. So what the carbon does is go in and replace that electron off of that molecule and turning it back on. And also, since the toxins, they're looking for they're looking for an electron. What happens is the carbon will also go and donate an electron to that toxin, so it doesn't steal one off your body, and it steals one off the carbon-60 molecule. And that way there, it basically neutralizes that toxin. Now, toxins are in everything. They're in the water, the food, the air. We can't get away from them. We're inundated. 200 years ago, where before the Industrial Revolution, there were real major concentrations of materials and stuff like that were, become toxic. They become toxic when they get together and compile together. Now that we have all the toxins in the air, pollution, removing them from your body will make us work more efficiently. Your body work and perform more efficiency, and that's why most people, somewhere in a ballpark of 95%, after they take the carbon-60 molecules and put them in their body, after 3 or 4 days, they'll notice that they have more energy. They feel better. They're more alert. These are the reports we get back from people. And it is not only anecdotal evidence, and I do want to put a disclaimer in here. This is not a cure for anything. Basically, it removes every free radical that's inhibiting your body's performance, and your body has the ability now to heal itself.
Yeah, and I'll go with the point on that with the free radicals and just talking about this exact same subject, but I'll frame it in something that people might be more familiar with that you've seen all over the news over the last 10 years. Blueberries, dark purple vegetables, broccoli. These vegetables that they're telling you to eat and consume, they're telling you for the exact same reason, to remove these free radicals out of your body. And you've seen it time and time again when they talk about dietary changes, etc. This is just a bit different method to accomplish the same thing, but a much faster, exponential fashion compared to what you could do with just diet alone.
Yes, I agree with you 100%.
Do I have that correct?
And basically, it all boils back down to the size of the molecule. They're so small, it's carbon. Now, carbon's been used many, many years for detoxification. In your body, it's used for cleaning up water, for pulling all the toxins out of your tap water. Everybody has a carbon water filter in their house. A lot of us do. And basically, carbon's a good scavenger for all these toxins. And carbon is a natural element. We're made out of carbon. The backbone of life on Earth here is carbon. All plants, vegetables, trees, people, dogs, cats, mammals, fish, they're all carbon-based life forms. So carbon is the backbone of life. We find carbon in all the food we eat and in our body, and we consume carbon quite a bit. The most of all the elements on the periodic table of elements, if you guys remember your chemistry, the big chart there, of all those elements, carbon is the most one we ingest in our mouth. That's because carbon is in all food, and carbon's the safest element of all the elements on the periodic chart to consume, because we consume it readily.
When you're taking a look and you start to name out different elements across the table, for a lot of people, they just think, oh, it's an element, carbon, it must be a scary thing because it sounds like iron or it sounds like some kind of metal. And I've had some people, that I was talking to over the last few days say, you can eat that? Well, what is it all about? And they instantly want to know more. And then once you start to tell them about, all right, well, all carbon is not created equal, especially with carbon-60 molecules. Different methods for it. You mentioned the solvent method, the way you do it without using solvents. So there's so many ranges of it. And, carbon-60 is becoming incredibly huge in people starting to explore it, have conversations about it. It's making it into just more circles of discussion, and it's really starting to get a little buzz about it. Just the purity of it and the density is quite different. So you're buying, again, it's like with any food or product that you might buy. Imagine if you go to a supermarket and you're buying X, Y, or Z. They're all manufactured differently. They come from different places. They have different methods to get it to that place. So Bob, if I could ask you just to delve into that a little bit more when I'm really talking about more of a, industry comparison, because apples are not all apples. We have the different types. And again, I try to bring it down into, I think you have something very special there. So can you define it a little more? Like, explain it to my mom. So my mom's sitting here. Let's say she was sitting here.
The basic difference is that we produce single molecules, and when you're producing single molecules of carbon-60 and you're producing a lot of them, they're so small, it's a lengthy process to do that. And you got to control all these processing parameters to get your equipment running just right to make it, and we make an abundant of them. When I first started making this, it was just such a small quantity of it. I mean, it really looked like the dot on the end of a sentence, on the end of a period, such a small, minuscule amount. And then we tweaked the process, and I went into this cold when I started making this. I didn't look at how other people were manufacturing carbon-60. I had a theory. I have a laboratory. I went into my research lab. I put some equipment together, spent some money in buying some other equipment to make it work, and proved it out, and my theory worked. And we produced small particles, carbon-60 molecules, by the billions. But the basic difference is, we just don't use any solvents in our process to do it. That's really the only difference that we really have. I can't go into too much details of the proprietariness of the process. What we use a source of carbon. It's pure. We strip off everything else off of it, and everything else does come off of it. And then we sort of collect the carbon and refocus it, if you may say, into providing into the spherical shape. But that's what we basically do in a nutshell.
And I know since you developed something, I kind of get the same, I should say, feelings of when you get something that you have an idea that could work and then it actually ends up working. So my personal experience is, I saw these weather changes coming because I was a coffee buyer in Myanmar, of all places. Unexplored country, and then when it opened up, there was a lot of agriculture down there, that there were possibilities. So I pegged on the coffee, and one thing that the farmers in Myanmar had told us, that they were losing part of their crops due to cold damage. And I thought that rather strange, that they would be losing coffee production due to cold damage somewhere that's close to the equator. Burma is the old country name for Myanmar. So I started digging in, and then I had these ideas and thoughts about, well, the weather's changing on these cycles that follow 400-year patterns. Reached out to a few other people out there that verified, and then I started my channel because I really wanted to spread the information. And I get so many people writing me going, thank you, I'm so happy that you brought this information to me. I never saw this anywhere. I kept hearing about this was the causation for all the climate change, etc. But coming out there with your own ideas and then have people actually reciprocate back in a thankful manner that, I am so glad that you went and used your mind to go on this track to develop either an idea, a product like you did, but people still come back at you, and it's almost indescribable. And I know with health, it's something very different than predicting the future about food pricing and how people can protect themselves and their families in the future, learning how to grow food, etc. Seeing these changes come in our society based on 400-year cycles in the sun. But what you've done is completely different. I mean, you're affecting people's lives because you're making their lives better. You're truly enhancing people's lives. So what kind of things are people telling you now that their lives are actually better? Because there's something way different when you make somebody's life better. They are so incredibly thankful and grateful. It's a level up.
I get calls every day, text, emails. Many things are just over the top. But let me go through a few of these. And a lot of people report, they're taking my product for 4 months. They get sharper mentally and physically. They have better overall mental clarity. That's one of the big things we hear about that. I've got lawyers and traders and so forth like that on the stock exchange using it. It sharpens their mind, they say. It's incredible. I've got one person here that they've been in a naturopathic business, so the nutrition, natural health field for over 42 years. And they use a technique for testing their products. And when they test their products, it's a dowsing technique. I know that's not an exact hard science, but on a scale of 1 to 10, our product came up at 450. She had her partner, her husband, test it too without telling him what the score was. And on a 1 to 10 scale, we come up at 450. And naturally, they were very curious. They've never come across anything that high on the scale before. They ordered some of the product. As a matter of fact, they're in Arizona. I'm in Denver area, Colorado, Littleton, Colorado. So I went down and visited them, and it was very nice to have many people come out and visit me and say, they're out in the middle of nowhere. People were driving 20, 50 miles, and just telling me their stories of, how it has helped them in such a short amount of time. But I've had people with depression. They've been on the Carbon 60 for 3 weeks, and it's gone. Arthritis pain is all but gone. And this is all anecdotal evidence. This is not a clinical trial. This is not a medical study. This is just what people are calling in and telling me what's going on. I have people saying it's the best supplement that they have taken, and people, their nails are getting stronger. There's no more cracks. They wake up refreshed in the morning. Their vision is better. You wake up refreshed because your body doesn't have those toxins or those free radicals, those tiny roadblocks to navigate around. Now it just flows through, so your body naturally has more energy. I've had people with allergies to milk and bread, and they've taken this product and their allergies have gone away. And arthritic pain. Within 2 or 3 weeks, the arthritic pain and swelling was 85 to 90% gone. Now, after 8 weeks, it's almost 98% gone. And we've had people also. There's one area I want to tell us about is applying the Carbon 60 sunflower oil topically. People apply it topically over muscle pain, over joint pain, and many of them report relief at about 2 minutes. I had a guy, he had back pain. He put it on his back, and 1 minute it was gone. I had another lady. She had a metal rod in her back. After 20 years from a car industry, the pain associated with it. Her husband tried all kinds of concoctions and made up his own, pharmaceutical type stuff and tried to relieve the pain. They tried my product, put it on topically, and it penetrates the skin within minutes and puts systemic in the body within about 2 minutes. Not all of it, but the stuff that actually is right on the surface of your skin. But this back pain with this metal rod, he put it on her back, and she goes, "Honey, how's your back?" 5 minutes later, she goes, "Oh my gosh, the pain's gone." Now, it wasn't a permanent fix. They applied it topically every 4 days, but at least her pain was gone. I've had other people with gout. This one guy had gout. He could hobble around all day long, and he put it on his foot. He chased me down. 10 minutes later, he said, "Look, I'm not limping anymore." 10 minutes. I myself, when we first found out that it was good to apply topically, I had what I thought was a bone spur on my heel. I was walking on the ball of my foot, on my right foot, so I didn't want to put any pressure on the ground. After I heard about somebody with their shoulder, the pain went away within 2 minutes. I went home that evening, took my socks and shoes off, and put some on my heel. 2 minutes later, I could actually bang my heel on the floor of the carpet without any pain. I mean, that was just amazing. It's just amazing how it went away. There's many people with Lyme disease are taking it, and they're seeing no exercise, no diet. They've lost 35 pounds. They feel, well, this was 30 pounds, excuse me. They feel better. They have more energy. They're not low energy from the Lyme disease. I've had people with glaucoma taking it. They put a drop in their eye once a day, and within lo and behold, the pain was gone in 2 or 3 days. And all this testimonies here that I'm reading off or going through, I just printed them off my website. They're at c-60.com, and if you have the top banner, you click on reviews. That'll jump you to another website because we put all of our reviews on a separate website, so we're not. So, and then you can jump back and forth from website to website. But all these reviews are on there, and you can read them in detail. I had a guy that was addicted to raw cacao leaves, and he lost his addiction. I had somebody that was having OxyContin withdrawals. He tried it, and he said, I don't have the withdrawal symptoms of getting off the OxyContin. Let me see here. Yeah, somebody else that can drink milk, another one, their chiropractor examination, they had gallbladder inflammation. It has also impacted their liver and kidneys and colon. The pain in all those areas is now gone. And in short order, it doesn't take, I'm trying to see how long they were taking this here, but not very much. Not very long period of time. It seems to react fairly quickly. What it does, I think like with cataracts in your eyes, you have the calcium buildup in there, and the electron donated by the carbon-60 molecule goes in and negates that charge. The calcium loses its affinity, falls off, and the calcium dissipates in your eye. That's what I believe is what's going on there. Another chronic Lyme disease, they're feeling better. He says, your amazing carbon-60 is truly working its magic. You have no idea how exciting this is. Thank you. I had another person here with back pain. Now, 4 days, their back pain was gone. They also said it helped their eyes at night with bright lights from a car that used to hurt their eyes, but no longer hurts their eyes anymore. Another Lyme disease also. We also have a friend that we both know, Kate Hart, the radical gardener. She has seen significant things in her leaky gut problem that she had. She was taking our product for 2 weeks and saw significant improvements in her. And there's a video clip, we could attach that. And you can take a look at that, but it shows how actually she has, actually pictures of her stomach lining and showing how it healed after taking the carbon-60, and that's all she changed in her diet. She didn't do anything different. And after 2 more weeks, it's showing another picture of how her stomach goes. But we had some high-level blood testing done on some young teenagers, 16 and 18-year-old males. They eat Taco Bell and Pizza Hut. They're really not very good eaters. And their blood normally in teenagers of that age, their blood looks terrible because of their diet. But with the supplementation of using the carbon-60, their blood work came out stellar. They got like an A and an A+.
Yeah, you got to think about today's diet too. I mean, people are really much busier, and it seems just time has sped up for some reason. I don't know if you get the same feeling, but it seems time is just moving faster. And with that being said, people's diets have changed because everybody's just eating something so quick to save time these days that the diet that we're putting into our bodies is just taking a beating. And also on the mental fog thing, I'm always at the computer and trying to do either a podcast or a video or answer emails or do a newsletter or something. I'm continually on this, shall we say, social media platforms trying to push and grow the message of we need to get ready. But my mental fog, I had to start taking nootropics just to bring myself up so I could be mentally clear. And then also on top of that, with the carbon-60, I even felt this little, shall we say, boost, and also the energy, so I can throw my own personal experience in there of something is just a little bit lighter and different, and I do feel the energy boost. But on my own personal account of the mental fog, with the nootropics to help me push through that, this also adds another whole entire level on top of that. So yeah, the mental fog and this leaky gut with the diet that we have today, there are just so many roadblocks to health anyway. Even if you try to eat healthy, if you're working and you just have a few minutes to eat, you're going to eat something fast just to put something in your stomach so you can keep going to that next appointment, the next meeting, and we all know what it's like.
We have another gentleman. He's from Australia, and he's a stem cell doctor out there, and he had a traumatic brain injury patient. He started taking C-60, and now he said that they're eating 3 meals a day. He said such an improvement in this person. Matter of fact, his dog had renal failure, kidney failure, and he was about to basically bury his dog. He gave him some carbon-60. 2 weeks, that dog's running around and has been great ever since. My dad's kidneys, my dad's kidneys were down. Let me see if I can find that when I'm jumping around a little bit here. But his kidneys were down around 14%, and after taking the Carbon 60, he went in for his checkup 3 months later, and they were, don't quote me on the exact number, but they were about 44%. One of his kidneys went from 10% to 30%, and the other one went from 0 to 10%. Another guy with Huntington's disease, it's a gait disorder. It's a nervous disorder. Lack of general coordination. I mean, this guy, when he walked, he looked like he was very drunk, about ready to fall over. And he took the Carbon 60, and within 10 days, most of his jerky movements went away. I saw him at the chiropractor's office that he was at, and he was standing at the desk, and I was behind him sitting down, and I go, is that him? I had to walk around to see his face to make sure it wasn't him, make sure it was him. And because I said, you look, he was standing there completely still without moving and jerking around. Let me see. People with fibromyalgia pain. Matter of fact, we had a gal, Gwinnett. She was my fibromyalgia guinea pig, so to speak. When I started out making this product, I said, try it. It should help with your muscle pain. And she tried it, and she said, yeah, I take it in the morning. I get 12, around half a day's relief. So she said she split her dose and was taking it twice a day and was getting 24-hour relief. But every time when I was starting this process and developing this technology, she was my guinea pig. Every time we made a new batch, I said, try it out, see if it does the same thing for you. Because if she didn't take it in the morning and evening, the evening muscle pain would come back. And so she tested all my product out at the beginning, and that was my litmus test. And yeah, it worked every time. We didn't veer off the processing track of making it. So that was a good thing there. Also, it's not only just for, people with like rheumatoid arthritis or so like that. I had this guy that was 8 years old, early onset rheumatoid arthritis. He's 27, tried everything I in the book. He started taking my product, and I think it was only in a few weeks' time, all of the swelling in his infected joints went down, the pain went away. I mean, not 100%, probably 90%, but he said he felt fantastic. I do have other avenues, too. It's not all for health. Oxidative stress, free radicals are generated like in a runner when they're running a competition race. We have many people that have used this. And for instance, in 2015, we gave it to marathon runners, track runners, mile runner, 2-mile runners. Everybody that took it, they took first place. And and even if they were down in the pack, their performance was so boosted because they removed those free radicals from oxidative stress right on the spot. They had it in their body, they had it in their blood. It boosted their performance to a first place position. I had one girl, she was a very average runner. She came in halfway in the pack, and she started taking the product. She took first place that weekend. And second weekend, first place again. Third weekend, third place. And over, I think 9 months, she moved up to number 4 in Colorado. Bodybuilders take it. I went into, this is a little anecdotal story here. When I started with this product, I'd go pound on doors at gymnasiums, chiropractors, naturopathic doctors, nutritionists, and so forth like this. I went into this one fitness gym. Was over in the I guess you might want to call it the affluent end of town here in the Denver area in Cherry Hills. And I went in there and talked to them at Viking Power Fitness, and I said, hey, I talked to 2 of the bodybuilders there, the ones that actually worked in the shop and trained people. And I said, hey, this product's going to, you're gonna lift more weights, do more reps, and not have any muscle pain. And later they told me, I give my 20-minute spiel on it and left them a sample bottle. They told me later when they were walking out the door. When I was walking out the door, they literally laughed at me behind my back. They said, nothing does this. And 2 weeks later, they called me up, and after trying it, they ordered 24 bottles. That was my first store that I got into, my first brick and mortar that I was able to sell it and then start selling it around town. We have several stores that sell the product now. But I thought that was pretty nice that they were in doubt about it, and then they turned around and they ordered the bottles. My daughter took it, and she runs 4.2 miles. She said, "Dad, my muscles get sore and I get tired after 4.2. She said, after taking the Carbon 60, she said, I ran 7.2. My muscles did not get tired. They did not get sore." So I think that's a part of the process that chiropractor was describing, the lactic acid buildup. It gives it like a catalyst to remove it out of your body. We've run, the Colfax Marathon, the Fort Lauderdale Marathon, first place by somebody that was taking it. It was a significant first place in both places. Another thing, we have people giving it to their pets and their dogs and their cats. Of course, we recommend a smaller portion size. Basically, we recommend about 1 drop for every 5 pounds of your pet. So if your pet weighs 15 pounds, give it like 3 drops. It's basically 30 drops in a serving. We give it to their standard 17-year-old standard poodle, and now this dog can get up and run again. People give it to their pet rabbits, and they have more activity, and they jump around. I've seen many people, the dogs with apparently arthritis in their joints, seeing a lot more energy, a lot more vitality. But that's probably most of all the health things, except vitality, memory, kidney function.
How do plants respond to this? If you were going to use it in a hydroponic fertilizer or something, have you ever tried it inside some mix to see how plants would respond to it if it was mixed into a suspended solution? Because plants are very similar in the uptake, the way that they break down nutrients to feed themselves and also to grow.
We have not done any specific studies on using carbon for plant growth or anything like that, or Carbon 60. One of the considerations there is that water does not suspend very much Carbon 60. It's like 0.0001%. So it's a very small amount that goes in the water. Don't quote me on that exact number, but it's a very tiny amount. With the sunflower oil, we can put quite a bit of it in there, and it suspends it very, very well. But that would be a very interesting agricultural study to do, is to even at that small fraction of a percent by weight of Carbon 60 into water, the water system. I believe it would significantly help, as, like I say, they always burn fields and add carbon to the soil. That's a standard practice. Carbon is just a miracle material. The carbon C-60 molecule, consisting of 60 carbon atoms in a sphere, the shape, the geometry, the spherical nature of it, it's harder than diamond. Diamond's in a triangular formation. So it's a very hard. And carbon shares 2 electrons, a carbon-carbon bond. That's why they use carbon fiber. It has a double bond, so it makes it much, much stronger. Sharing 2 electrons instead of just sharing 1 with most conventional materials. So it's a very versatile material. It's a very stable material. It's very safe, and it's very black.
It is. I did an unboxing video. I started to make just a little bit of video to try to take it out of the box to say, well, this is what it looks like. It was packed incredibly well because it was being shipped overseas. So even when I indicated, hey, can you put a little bit of extra padding in there with the bubble wrap because it is coming overseas, everything I asked for was there. It was well packed. Nothing moved. I even shook it. Nothing moved. But I pulled it out and put a few drops on a white plate, and I didn't know what to really expect when I got it out of the box. And indeed it was. It had that very dark black color to it. And look at this. This is something very special here. I really believe this is something revolutionary that not a lot of people know about, but a lot more people should know about. It is starting to get some attraction in some circles, like I said, but it should be on the greater whole. This should be out across the planet is a choice of something to help you enhance your life or help you, I don't know, fix a few of the things in your body that could be fixed. I mean, would you go and run a car indefinitely without trying to tune it up? It's kind of the same thing that I see here with Carbon 60 and what I feel also with the energy. So,
and that's what we need is we need better food and better plant growth, higher density yields, better yield, and just basically higher quality food. And who knows, it might do something where they can use less less pesticides or something like that. Or actually, you never know until you try. I do want to, say that, yeah, you're right. Our product is very black. Carbon is black as can be. As a matter of fact, we have a test tube here I want to show you. And this is 1 gram of carbon that we have in this test tube. And it's about 3.25 inches worth of a test tube full of carbon. That's 1 gram. Our particles are so fine and so small when we produce them. And this is the as-produced carbon that we have here. And we take this and we blend it into the sunflower oil. And since we start with single molecules and very fine particles, we don't, very single molecules of carbon 60, we don't have to spend weeks blending it. We only spend about 2 minutes to actually just blend it into the oil. And I want to go over the taste of the carbon 60 sunflower oil. There's virtually no taste to it.
Yeah, it's super smooth. Super smooth, and I would even say delicious. Half a dropper and not even a problem. It actually tastes really good. And it's very light, and you can't even taste it. The taste is gone in just a minute or two anyway. It blends well with the sunflower oil. Talk about one last thing here. You sent me a few photos because we were talking about using it topically. This is my personal example. You told me about using it topically, and then you sent me some different images about the gallbladder and doing some readings with different organs. Gallbladder, a lot of people have problems with that. Intestines, I mean, that takes us right back to the leaky gut, etc. But talking about topical uses of it, and you sent me all these graphic images here, and I don't see graphic as in gory, I mean graphics as in, you'll have to explain the images here so people can, I'll put them up on the screen here so people can see.
It's a biofeedback scan of the organs. And she says she knows her equipment. It's 98% accurate, and she usually takes a scan of someone's organs. And this is what you get. You get these pictures of the gallbladder, the stomach, the wall of the colon, and so forth. These pictures that we have up on the screen there, or we can show you. And basically, it puts a number on each organ, 1 being good and 6 being poor. In other words, the organ's not functioning properly. And usually, if you get some 3s and 4s and 5s on an organ, usually one side of it's a little worse than the other, according to these pictures here. And she would spend a month on supplements with her patients. And she said, "Boy, I'm lucky to get them to move 1 point, like a 5 to a 4, and then in other words, improving it." She said she tried out the carbon 60. She saw some results with it, and these photos here are from this one of her patients, where they took a scan before, and that's the before picture, and it shows all the numbers on there, the 4s, 5s, and 6s, and the one after that shows the 2s, 3s, and 4s. So a much better, like a 30% effective healing. Instead of moving just 1 point, and move 2 or 3 points. But the big thing about this is this was in 5 minutes. These pictures before and after were 5 minutes apart. She spends about a month to get it to move 1 point. She applied this topically to this person's chest cavity over the organs, the area of the organs where they were, and it moved it 2 or 3 points in 5 minutes. I mean, she was excited. I'm excited enough to buy a plane ticket, get a hotel, get a rental from come down here specifically from the Ontario, Canada area by the Great Lakes, and come down to Denver, Colorado, just to show me what she had on here. She's so excited, and we can put a link on to her video and her talking about what she saw on here. I mean, we're excited too. The topical applications are huge. I had one gentleman with a rotator cuff injury. He was going in for surgery on it. He heard about this. He started taking it internally, And in about 6 weeks, he said, "Oh gosh, my shoulder's feeling better. I'm not going to go in. The pain's way down." 6 more weeks, he canceled his surgery because he said, "I'm not needing to go. 90% of my pain's gone." Also, his daughter, this was a first for us, she has MS, and we never really had anybody try it with MS until recently, and this is within the last 3 weeks that I got this report. She said, "I don't know what it is, Dad, but, this was the guy with the rotator cuff surgery. This is her daughter." She says, "I don't know what it is, Dad, but my eye's starting to feel a lot better." And basically, MS is the sheath that goes around your nerve gets degraded. And the reason it gets degraded, it's got to be free radicals. That's the only thing that causes the problem. So if this goes and it removes the free radicals, and let me tell you one more thing about the Carbon 60. This is pretty an insight. We believe this is what goes on. You got an issue where you got a bunch of free radicals, like causing bone on your knee. There's a reason. There's a bunch of free radicals down there causing that situation. So the carbon molecule seeks out and finds those by magnetic attraction, goes down there and attaches to those free radicals. Now the carbon 60 molecule is very small compared to a molecule in your body. The molecule, let's say, the size of a microwave. The carbon 60 molecule is about the size of a baseball, just to give you some objective scale. And so they're very small. So it really can only use one site. Because how many microwaves can you get next to a baseball? Maybe two. Because just the geometric proportions of it. So it leaves 19 other sites on that carbon 60 molecule open for a receptor for tissue regeneration, for tissue growth. It's common practice. They put carbon fabric, a carbon mesh in your body for carbon sites for tissue, like in a burn victim where their skin is missing. They'll put some carbon fabric in there, and that will allow the cells a place to attach to the carbon and start to regenerate and build more cells. Well, the same thing happens in this guy's knee. We believe that the molecules of carbon went down there, arrested the free radical that was causing the damage, and provided a scaffolding of carbon for new tissue regeneration.
Again, knee surgeries across the United States, or in the Western world, Europe, United States, whatever it might be, in more developed nations, knee surgeries are incredibly huge, especially with the aging population. If we're 50, 60, everybody has parents or a very aging parents at that age. If you're pushing 50 or getting over 50, then you have very aging parents. You either know somebody who has a knee replacement surgery or somebody in your family has had one. They're that common now. If this seems to be something to alleviate pain issues with knee surgeries are a huge thing because it's just not healing right down there.
We have a video also that shows how the carbon 60 goes into and it finds those cracks and crevices. And we have a video that we could put up that would show you how the carbon 60 molecule goes in. It's somehow it attracts to the bottom of the canyon of that crack. That's how we think it helped out with Kate Hart with her leaky gut, and we've seen it help in other areas. So we're kind of supposing that's what happens. And just a demonstration we show on the back of this white business card. You can see all the carbon migrating, that fine point, that V at the bottom. It's like a singularity. And for some reason it has affinity. That's where the carbon will collect. And it's like looking down in the Grand Canyon. You can watch this video, and you can see the carbon collect in it. And like you can see the river down at the bottom of the canyon getting wider and wider and wider, and basically leaving a scaffolding in that crack or the fissure or whatever you want to call it, for tissue to have a scaffolding to regenerate on, and that's how we believe it happens. And I want to talk, as we get older, there was a study done by the University of Paris in France, which gave carbon 60 to laboratory rats, and it basically doubled their rat lifespan according to the testing that was done. Which was incredible. That was miraculous. That was one of the big first findings about how this molecule is going to help with life. And it's not that it just gives you an extension of life. We don't know that for sure. We don't have a crystal ball. There are tests being conducted right now to see if the telomere length, the end of your DNA spiral, It maintains its length. They suspect it will with the carbon 60, and that's what they suspect happened in these laboratory rats that double their lifespan. But it's mainly the quality of life you're looking for. You know, if this guy called me the other day. He said, my mother, she's 76 years old, God bless her. She was taking the carbon 60. She said she wanted to get up and do something. She went up and painted the front of the house and painted the side of the house. 76 years old. You know, that's the kind of results we're seeing with many people. They want to get up and do something. They feel better. They have more energy. Their aches and pains go away. And that's what you want. It's a quality of life. It's not the quantity. You want to have a good quality of life as long as you get older.
Yeah, you sure do. And I mean, that's kind of the reason that you're bringing your dream to fruition as well as my message to fruition. My whole goal is to try to help people see the future so they can live better lives. You've already created something right now in the present at this moment that can help people live better lives. So it's all about just sharing back everybody back to just humanity itself to try to, at least in my opinion, make it a better world for everybody to live in. And because if somebody else is living a better world and their lives are enhanced, that's going to spread. And that'll hopefully connect to somebody else that knows somebody else that'll finally connect back to you. The greater thing about my messages for Grand Solar Minimum is more people that are prepared, and they can help each other more easily than one person prepared and thousands of people not prepared, and everybody's relying on that one person, versus the opposite, where thousands of people are prepared, and then they can help that one person, that 10 person, that hundreds of people, because more people are prepared than not. And it's the same thing that you're doing, you know, enhancing people's lives. And there's nothing better. I can't describe it to you when I get those same messages of people so happy that I'm sharing the information that helps them not come at something with fear, to come at it with understanding.
Give it a try. There's no guarantees, but if you're like 95% of the other people out there that have tried it, 95% give our product a thumbs up. You know, and the other 5% give it the thumb sideways. They may not notice anything. The success rate of our product, and apply it topically, put it in your eye. I had one guy, he was deaf in one ear, and he had tinnitus ringing in the other ear. And I said, well, rub some on your ear, put a drop in there. He called me back within about 3 or 4 days and said, you're not going to believe this. My ear that I could not hear in, I can now hear. It's working. It's functioning. There's just over-the-top things, miraculous things like this come in almost every day. So please, you know, just give it a try and see how it works for you. And I wish you all good health. Stay healthy, my friend, and a good long life for you, too, also.
Yeah, Bob, I appreciate your time, and I will leave links in the description box so they can just scroll down and click that and come right up to your site and check everything out. As well as myself, I'm going to continue to put updates on my results using carbon 60.
Thanks, David.